Hey everyone, welcome to another two-part video where we're going to break down the laning phase of a game and then see how they use the lead they have to carry. For this video, we're going to be watching Froggen play Tristana vs Fizz. This matchup isn't that difficult as Tristana, but the main purpose is just talk about pressure and why it's important. We've talked about pressure in a lot of other videos, but briefly. And it's one of the most important parts about laning phase and just League in general, so the more we go over it, the better. Let's do a quick matchup breakdown, then hop into the gameplay. Tristana is an ADC versus Fizz an AP assassin. We have talked before about how Triss is one of the best mids in the game for solo queue, so naturally she does everything better than Fizz. More wave clear, more poke, more burst. The only way Fizz can win in higher elo is if he gets a gank at level 6 and lands a shark. And even then, it's tough to kill Triss depending on the jungler. Froggen's missions will be the standard for these kinds of matchups. Mission 1, slow push the wave. Mission 2, harass when Fizz goes for last hits. And Mission 3, don't die to ganks. Alright, let's get into the gameplay. At the start of the lane, Froggen is starting a slow push for mission 1, while zoning Fizz away from the first few minions as well. Remember, a slow push is just a big wave of minions and is done by getting the push lead in lane, then start last hitting while your waves stack up on each other. This is used in almost every range vs melee matchup. By having slow push with you, it's very hard for the enemy laner to fight you, because of all the minions, and they have to last hit a lot of minions under tower, which goes great with mission 2, and you get a lot of time to get damage on the tower with how long it takes the tower to clear such a big wave. And Tristana does some of the most damage to towers out of anyone, so it's especially perfect for her. Also, she can zone Fizz off these first few minions because he would take way too much damage getting them. She can just put the bomb on him and auto him until he's at the tower. Sadly, Froggen makes a little spacing mistake here and gets hit by the edge of the Fizz E, which slows him, so he can't follow up on his autos. If he didn't mess that up, he would have got a lot more damage here. Either way, he's continuing missions 1 and 2, pushing the wave and harassing Fizz when he walks up for this last hit. Then follows up with a few more autos because if you look at the wave position, only the melee mains are close enough to aggro Froggen, and the ranged ones are the ones that really do the damage. So you can throw in a few autos then back off before the ranged ones get close enough. It's really important to make the most of your auto harass in these kinds of matchups. It's actually the biggest thing I've noticed when smurfing and playing the melee side of the matchup. The lower ranked ranged champions barely auto tap me when I go for last hits, or they just use 1 when they could be getting 3 or 4 in. This big chunk was without Trist E as well, so imagine if Froggen didn't miss space in the first trade. Anyways, you can see the waves starting to stack up now, and will crash on the tower, giving him lots of time for mission 2. But I'm sure some of you are wondering if it's safe to do this, especially since he's not dropping any wards. This is a perfect segue to talk about pressure. Now you know how much pressure you can put on the enemy. So if we look at the matchup, Tristana vs Fizz, and think about how much kill pressure Fizz has, it's close to 0. Tristana wins this matchup easily if she doesn't troll, and can keep her distance, which we already talked about. And if we look at the enemy jungler, who is Eve, before 6, it's nearly impossible for Eve to land her charm on Trist because she can just jump away. Knowing that it's impossible to kill Tristana if her jump is up, Froggen can put as much pressure as he wants without a fear of dying. Now, there's a key part of this to understand. Notice how I say impossible to kill Tristana if her jump is up. This part is extremely important because a lot of players don't understand how to use their defensive abilities in lane properly. In this game, you'll never see Froggen jump on Fizz, even though he wins the all-in. He doesn't need it to kill Fizz and knows he's nearly impossible to kill if it's up. And it's much more important to stay alive than to get kills. The same would apply to ZW, LeBlanc W, etc., any kind of jump or mobility. Sounds easy enough, right? But mobility and jumps aren't the only defensive cooldowns. A perfect example is Syndra Stun. Let's say Froggen was playing Syndra here. He could do the same thing Tristana is doing, but with her E. So he would just use Q and W and auto attacks to harass the Fizz, and if Eve ganks, his E will be up so he can use it to get away. Now, it doesn't mean to never use your stun aggressively as Syndra, as it can lead to kills. It's just showing you how, when your defensive ability is down, you can't put as much pressure as you want to without it being dangerous. Anyways, finally moving back to the gameplay, as Fizz goes for these last hits, Froggen is looking for poke every single time. He's going to continue pushing waves like before and harassing until they both hit level 3. Level 3 changes things a little bit because now Fizz has access to all 3 abilities, which means he can trade and actually do some damage, whereas at level 2 he's useless. This doesn't make Eve and Fizz's kill pressure go up that much, but there's no point in not using his wards. So this is the perfect time to drop a ward on top side, which is the side he's been hugging all lane. If you put a ward down before this point, it would have been a waste as the odds of Eve showing on it is like 10%. Eve can't really invade this early since she's weak, and wants to just clear her jungle. Moving on, at this point in the video, you might be wondering, what actually is pressure? Pressure just means you are doing something that is forcing the enemy to react to it. So if you're pushing a tower, the enemy needs to defend it or take a different objective. By constantly pushing mid and harassing the enemy mid, It puts pressure on the jungler to come help them and on the enemy mid to survive. League is all about pressure as it forces mistakes. So for example, after enough pressure, Fizz had enough of Triss harass and tries to fight her, which wasn't even close, and Froggen gets a solo kill. Okay, so now that we've covered pressure and how Froggen gets a lead in lane, I wanted to quickly mention that over at skillcap.com, we release way more guides than on YouTube as part of the most effective learning platform for League of Legends. Head over there if you want to get your desired rank for the end of Season 9. Alright, let's jump forward to how Froggen snowballs his lead with challenger macro choices to close this one out. As Froggen is working on this tower, his jungler and top laner are about to get in a 2v2 fight in the enemy jungle. Froggen takes the tower first for the 610 gold, then starts heading over. So that's the first thing we should briefly talk about. When a fight is happening and you're trying to decide whether to move or not, look how much gold Froggen got because he got a plate and first tower bonus. 610 gold is 2 kills worth. It'll pretty much always be better to do this over a random fight. So objectives over kills. After he gets priority number 1, now he can head into the jungle to assist his team. He knows Fizz is coming though, so he's going to push him away from the fight first and clear the wave. Now Fizz is chunked and he has to collect this big wave, so Froggen knows if they fight they'll have a man-up advantage. He heads into top river and gets an easy kill on the Mord who is overextended. If we look at mid lane, you see how Fizz is stuck on the tower? Mid prio goes past just the laning phase. Shoving waves makes the enemy team have to catch them, leading to man-up fights for your team. This is also called tempo. So to make it easier to understand, let's say both teams have 4 people in top lane about to fight, and both mid laners are mid. Whoever shoves that first wave gets tempo advantage since they will move first. If it takes the enemy mid 5 seconds to clear it, you get a 5-second tempo advantage. Now that the first tower is gone, this is where a lot of players really start to struggle on how to push their lead. There's a few reasons for this, the main ones being they push too far up trying to get second tower and die, or they force plays elsewhere that don't work. We're going to learn how to deal with that here. Anyways, after that kill, there's no wave to push in mid since Fizz is still killing the one on the tower, so Froggen still has prio to do whatever he wants. The first thing he's going to do is take the enemy raptors, which is something you should be doing whenever you get the chance like this, as long as it's not too dangerous and your champion is good at clearing them, which most mid laners are. Taking jungle camps puts the enemy jungler behind and puts you further ahead. Alright, the wave is back in mid. If you were him, what would you do next? Most of you probably said go to mid and clear the wave for mid prio. That's the right idea most of the time, but Froggen does something else instead. So let's watch. He ran down to bot lane and ditched the wave in mid. I'm sure you're thinking, Skillcap, you've told us not to roam to losing lanes and lose waves like this. Yes, this is true most of the time, but if you remember why we say not to, it's because if you go down and the enemy jungler is there, you're going to die 3v3 or the enemy mid will roam and make it a 3v4. You have to know the enemy jungler won't counter gank it, and have to know if you're strong enough to make the play work. Froggen is pretty fed right now, so he knows he can win the 2v2. Also remember, he didn't roam bot to help his bot lane or to save them. He roamed because he saw opportunities to get kills and push his own lead. He doesn't really care about his bot lane. But if we rewind to just before he kills Mord, Eve was topside, so he ran over to kill raptors, then the wave reset in mid. Fizz has been getting stomped all game, so why would Fizz be in the lane and not pushing it? Froggen was thinking Eve must be around and they are looking to Fizz ult and jump him. And that's why he didn't walk into mid at all and made a roam instead. He knew Eve couldn't be bot and didn't want to die mid and give shutdown gold. This was very smart decision making from him. Even I learned from this. After Xayah dies, look at the minimap. What would you do next? A lot of you would run to mid and collect the waves that Fizz is pushing into the tower. This isn't totally wrong, it's just not the optimal play. So it's 13 minutes into the game, meaning tower plates are still up. And Froggen already got mid tower. So he can let his jungler collect the mid CS, and since the enemy bot lane just died, he can go bot and try to get some plates or take the tower. So if he goes mid, he gets like 12 CS. If he goes bot, he gets the next 2 waves, which is 12 CS, 3 tower plates, and the tower gold. It's safe to say he gets a lot more gold from going bot instead. After that, he's going to make a pretty risky play here, following up on his recon and engaging on Xayah. This was a cheese play that could have backfired, and I wouldn't recommend doing something like this. After all the gold he got, it's better to recall here. If even Fizz happened to be down here, this would be a big throw. But luckily, they aren't here, and his Sivir gets 2 kills. After those 2 picks, they can easily take Dragon and Froggen can finally recall. After recalling, where would you go next? Well, they just got Dragon, so there are no objectives bot side. Herald is up though, so it's best for Froggen to go top as a big wave is pushing in. When a wave is stacking up like that, it's super important to not die or do anything crazy before it hits the tower. You must be there to collect these waves. Then push them the other way, then look for a play. So Froggen starts to head towards top. But while he does that, the enemy team is sieging mid. The top wave hasn't crashed yet, so he has about 20 to 30 seconds before he needs to be there. So he can go to mid in case the enemy team dives and can help defend the tower. Now he can go to top lane and grab the wave. But let's say the enemy team is sieging while the wave was crashing top. Would he grab the wave or defend the tower? It's best to give the mid tower in those situations and grab the CS. Think about it this way. That tower gold will always be there for the enemy team to get. But the golden experience from the minions die and are gone forever. So from there, if you go top and get the CS, you could start pushing top wave as well. You can maybe trade one tower for one, or it might make the enemy team send one for you, which might be able to make your team able to defend. It's very situational, but you should get the idea. Now, Froggen is going to continue to push top waves for pressure, making sure to play on the safer side just in case Eve tries to gank. He just wants to push the wave until he sees enough on the map to take the tower safely. While doing that, a fight breaks out in river, so he's just hitting the closest target, and with a nice flash on Mordekaiser's Q, he kills him in the death realm, getting 2 kills here. With 2 of the enemy team dead and the rest chasing Sivir, notice now he's going to push top and not go into his jungle. He doesn't want to face check and can get a lot of gold from these minions and the tower. Just like before, prioritizing objectives over chasing kills. Alright guys, so at this point, Froggen has taken all 3 outer towers on his own and got his team a 5k gold lead with smart rotations. This was a perfect example of how to snowball a lead from lane without throwing or falling behind in farm, as he still has 10 CS per minute. But that's going to be it for this video. Thanks for watching.